That's the thing.
What were for you? This is actually one of our questions that we have.
Yeah.
So far, we've kind of been talking about Carpe Noctem, or the original Carpe Noctem, the original Budapest party hostel, back at the time when Budapest wasn't really discovered yet. It hadn't really been put on the map. Certainly not for the party tourists that ended up coming over the years. 3 years later, fast track to 3 years later, and you had started Retox. We haven't really talked very much about like that whole journey from opening your very first hostel to meeting these amazing people like Smike who helped you kind of like build it and grow, to then 2 years later opening 2 hostels in one summer, 2 big massive hostels in 1 summer.
Weeks, yep.
This was Grandio and Carpe Noctem Vitae.
Yep.
Originally it was called Penthouse Hostel, and then got changed to Carpe Noctem Vitae, and then now more recently renamed to Vitae Hostel, whatever. Anyway, and then 1 year later, finally the legend of Retox was born. Founded.
How'd you come up with the name?
How did you come up with the name of Retox? Yeah, I mean,
we didn't. Our friend Sam Shepard did.
Sam Shepard.
Yep.
Oh, that's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Yeah,
Let me tell you, when you hear, there's only been one time in my life when I heard a name and I go, oh, that's it. That's
no more discussion.
It.
That's it.
Because she was talking about having her parents were talking about going on a detox. You know what I mean? Like you got to take care of yourself. Like going on a detox. She's like, oh man, I've been on all these detoxes. All I need now is a Retox. And we heard it go, oh, that's the name of the hostel.
We were fucking hammered in the Balaton, right?
Yeah.
It was the staff appreciation, but back then there weren't so many staff, so we were just appreciating ourselves. It's good.
Yeah.
On the Balaton, you appreciate that.
I mean, there's a lot of things to appreciate about Balaton, let's be honest. So Sam Shepard came up with the name of Retox.
Yep.
But let's talk about the concept, the idea of Retox. What was your idea and your vision for Retox when you first started it?
I don't know, like I don't want to say out, I don't want to speak out of turn, but like our idea was not what it was.
Yeah. That's what I was curious about.
Sure. Like we, at this point, we had Carpe Noctem, we had the now, as people would know it, Vitae, we had Grandio. Grandio was the wildest place.
The first party hostel in all of Hungary.
Yeah.
The first place that didn't have a curfew.
Everyone said, don't do that.
Yeah.
Everyone. When Susie was opening it, she asked me to be the first manager there. I was super excited, but everyone told her don't do this, and he was like, "Yeah, we're going to do this. Like it's going to be fun."
Why were they saying don't do it?
Yeah.
Because there is a stigma with party hostels that you're only going to get stag parties. You're only going to get people who want to come in and destroy the city. People who, and in the industry, you know that there are some people who add to an experience and some people who take more than they give. And I think the stigma with party hostels, you only have guests that take more than they give to a city, to the culture, to everything. So they're the kind of stag groups who come in, and there's always that one guy in a stag group who says out loud, we're gonna burn this fucking place down. They always do that. There's always that one guy, and when you know how to handle it, it's fine. You can sort that out. But that's the mentality that they come in with, and everyone thought that that's what a party hostel was until Susie opened one here, and then it was different. There's still that, but there's so much more to it, and I think people forget or don't know about the other side of it, which is the beauty of it. But Grandia was the first one in the country because everyone was too afraid, but she wasn't.
And Grandio just gave this, I don't know, just crazy new lease of living. Like the difference between Grandio and Retox is, I think, what Retox became, and how I describe it to people is, Grandio was people were 18 years old, they've never experienced anything before. They came to Grandio, they're like, this is living. This is absolutely everything. Like, I cannot believe I'm allowed to get away with this. Retox was more like people who had done that shit, right? Went back, earned some money, went, fuck the real world, I'm still going to go back to that. It was like this, regressing of adults, like people who knew full well better and went, nah, going back to that. So it was a conscious decision. But when we opened the hostel, because we looked at the market, as you'll appreciate this, is you have to look at the market as what does the market need, not like that chick before. Now I know, okay, we can't split the market between everything. So you've got Carpe Noctem, which was 22 beds, solo travellers, that intimate, like everybody gets to know everyone, go out at night, but you sleep, chill, right? And then we opened Grandio, which was this feral, beautiful jungle of, too many stories for another day, surely. Not that I'll ever come back to a podcast, but you know.
I'll see about
And
that.
then,
We'll see about
and the Vitae, which changed so much from, like, the concept behind Vitae was, if we were so held back by Carpe with the noise and the neighbours and the space, what if we had this place which was, you know,
Completely
this,
insulated.
you know, penthouse, 2 levels, oh my god, it should be the best house in the world, blah 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 blah. And then, you know, after that, we thought the Grandio may be taken away from us at any one point, because it is a 1-story, 2-story crumbling sandcastle, and the owner was like, any one point they can take this away from us, so it's gone. Do we want to lose it? Well, obviously we don't want to lose it. Retox, the opportunity came about. I was skeptical because I'm like, I don't want to split the market share. I think that Grandio is such a great thing. If we have Retox, it's going to split it. The idea was going to be, it was like this hipster place. Like when hipsters were cool, if anyone remembers that, I don't know. But we had our good friend Johnny, he was doing stencil workshops.
Yeah, Johnny.
Mishi, he was AeroPress coffee. There was some hipster shit going on. I was like, you know, it's not really me. But that was going to be it. And then our good friend Christian, I think he changed Retox for us. Christian Smith.
Where's Christian?
He put us on the map because of his, I think, a guy who was traveling around who was doing a daily video update, like of his travels. He ended up creating a website. What was it called?
Besthostels.com, I think.
Yeah. He every morning he'd wake up and do like a vlog basically from his bed, and he did this. He did every day at Retox, and he just vlogged massively about us, and he just put it out there, and that was it.
Was it the first Retox tattoo?
Might have been the first Retox tattoo. He definitely had one. I'm not sure if it was the first, but he was one of the first.
He got a Retox tattoo.
Yeah.
The first of the Retox
I think
tattoos.
he was. You know, I think we
Was
all
it
knew.
Big Winge or Christian? I'm not sure.
I think we all knew that we were part of something that was like different, that was special, and I think he recognized it when he came in. And sometimes you have to be from the outside to walk in and be like, "Holy shit!" And he had that attitude about it, and he adored it.
Yeah.
And he vlogged about it every day. He ended up creating a website down the road, and that would habitually put Retox at the top of his hostel list for party hostels. And as his vlogging grew, other people started to notice it. Obviously the reviews were great, the stories were terrific, and he kind of jump started like the name to be a thing out there. And then
It just changed to be this Aussie.
yeah,
It was definitely the Australians came in, and then, you know the Aussies. They're
Yeah.
like, oh yeah.
all right, mate.
Are there any limits on language on this thing?
Nah.
No, right?
Fuck
Such
no.
it can. Like, can. And that's when Retox changed. I was like,
Well,
okay, so it's not a hipster hostel.
there
anymore.
was-
Okay, it's
there was definitely, you know, when you open when Susie opened up a hostel, I got the chance to work at every one of them except, I mean, one of the private places or whatever. But we would go into the brand new place, and as the new kid on the block, even within an entity that's already, you know, kind of there, Budapest party hostels, you got to earn your keep. So every place you go to, you have to be bigger and crazier. And then Retox was the first place where we would sit people down and like, we're gonna have a bit of a powwow today. We're gonna talk about this. How are we crazier than everyone else? How do we one up everyone? And that was our deal every single day. How do we become famous? And not famous like, oh, we want everyone to see us. We want to be crazier than everyone.
Infamous.
That's it. You know, like, so, I mean, listen, in the beginning, there was all different kind of like bullshit things that didn't work out. You know, that building, we lied to everyone that stayed there for the first couple of months, and we told them it was an old psychiatric hospital and that we had taken over. And then, so there were rooms called First Aid, you know, that had like demonic
Mad
kind of,
scientist.
mad scientists. We were like,
Joker.
Really?
yeah, we were like, oh, it's an old psychiatric hospital, so we thought we would just go with it, and that was it. We just left it, just leave it like that. Don't tell anyone the truth ever, because listen, there was no one promised you tomorrow. It's really like the way life is. No one promises you tomorrow, man. And in the hostel game, you know, this really felt like no one does party hostels. No one wants us here. Well, fuck them. We're gonna do whatever we want. We're gonna try and be crazy, and we did. And it was like we'd meet every day, the staff, and I'd say, you know what? There's 12 people in house. Okay, what's the craziest thing we can do today? How do we get everyone downstairs? What can we do? What can we film? What can we? And that was it. Every day became a little crazier, with the idea that no matter what, it meant that everyone who stays here is a part of it. This is like family. This isn't like we put on a show for people. If the people who live in the hostel are not your family, or not your friends, you've already lost. So that has to be number one. We're all friends, and it's us versus everyone. We got this bubble. It's just we're crazy. We're Retox, and Suze will tell you every single hostel she's run, they have a chant. They have a hand sign that goes up. Everyone has their own thing, their own nomenclature, their own way of speaking, their own call signs, because you have to have a tribe. And it made a huge difference. And when no one wanted to be a party hostel, you know, Grandio and Retox became tribes. And they were different tribes. And I think what you said is perfect. Grandio was the first place you've ever stayed at. And Retox was Neverland that you got to go back to. You know, it's Neverland with a bar. It was pretty great.